What if I told you that if for any reason you have a son or daughter that is obese, the government will find you guilty of neglect and abuse and hand you a hefty fine? Well, this is about to happen in Puerto Rico, where legislators are debating a bill that will fine parents of obese children up to $800 if these kids don't lose weight. If approved, public school teachers will target these kids, will flag them, and refer them to social workers. These social workers will get in touch with health department officials that will then meet the parents and determine if this obesity comes from a disease or just from bad habits. They will then create a program of exercise and diet, and they will monitor this by monthly visits to see that there's compliance. After 6 months, they will come back and they'll decide if there was improvement. If not, they will fine you $500, and then if there's another reincidence, they will fine you $800. Nick, what do you think?
I'm just thinking, if they imposed this here on the mainland, how many parents would be fined and out of their parenting job? Okay, there's two ways to look at it. Is the government looking out for the well-being of the country? Or are they taking too much control and taking the parents' job and their responsibility and meddling too much in their own personal lives?
Well, there's this aspect that is very important to share.
Okay.
28% of the children in Puerto Rico are considered obese, compared to the U.S. mainland, where we only have 18% of obese children, which is still very high. So, because of this, one of Puerto Rico's top new youngest and most popular politicians, his name is Gilbert Rodriguez Valle. He decided to come up with this bill to create a healthy child program. For context, the U.S. Center for Disease Control considers a kid obese when he is 95% above the other kids. If you are heavier than 95% of the kids, you're considered obese. So, this is very controversial. The fact is that there is a big epidemic of obesity, not only in Puerto Rico, not only in the U.S., but in the world. We're seeing that the expense in public health is rocketing because of obesity problems, diabetes. All of these diseases are really costly to public health systems.
Yeah.
But even with that, Ricardo Fontanet, who is the president of the Puerto Rico chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, he said that yes, it's a good thing that he's identifying the problem, but the way he's going about it is wrong. And I'm going to quote him saying, first, he's saying that if you have an obese child in the house, it's synonymous with child abuse, and that's completely wrong. You have to lose weight, sure, but to have the state coming to your home, looking at how you do things and charging you with child abuse is down dangerous. Then second, if they're not involving pediatricians, nutritionists, the dietitians, the people who prepare the lunches in schools, any of this, they're doing it wrong. Teachers aren't trained to identify obese children. They don't have the time, the facilities, or the knowledge. They're asking people with no knowledge of dealing with obesity to identify these patients. And I think that he's right. I think that the idea of creating a law which is not relying on medical advice to define a medical problem is wrong from the beginning.
Maybe they would send them to some sort of evaluation before they determine that these parents are not suitable to raise these children. Or at least I'd hope they would, right? Because you're right, that would be a little ridiculous. But can we blame it all solely on parents not being responsible?
No, not at all.
Maybe they don't have a choice.
I think there's two issues that are very important that are contributing to this. One is the level of poverty.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico is about twice as poor as America, as mainland U.S. That immediately is a problem. When you live in a country where a can of soda is 75 to 80 cents, but a bottle of water is $1.10, immediately you have a problem with obesity. Immediately it will be cheaper for you to feed your kids something that is going to make them obese versus the right choice. Also, the cultural aspect of it. You know, Latino cuisine relies heavily on fried food, fatty food, but also the poverty having, also the cultural element that the families are bigger. They have 2, 3, 5 kids, and to shop organic whole foods for a family of 6
It's expensive.
It's very expensive, very, very expensive. So it's cheaper to take these families to dine out. Also, in the public schools, it's not obligatory to have PE. And because of the poor situation of the country that is battling $70 billion of public debt, well, there's no money for parks, there's no money for social programs that support physical activity. So we're seeing that there's a combination of issues that is creating this epidemic.
So maybe they should push these approaches that focus on like social aspects, like motivating kids to work out and educating people on proper diets, as opposed to these kinds of measures, which literally have the government come in and tell you how to parent your children.
Imagine if you're poor and you're struggling to feed your family, and then the government comes and fines you $800.
It's not going to help.
It's not going to help you. Yeah. So we want to know, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. Is this a rational law that is going to benefit the public, or is just complete nonsense? Let us know what you think and subscribe to the Lib TV.